Glacier National Park, located in the rugged northern reaches of Montana along the Canadian border, is often called the crown of the continent for its breathtaking landscapes and unspoiled wilderness. Spanning over 1 million acres, the park is a sanctuary of towering snow-capped mountains, pristine alpine lakes, and dense forests that seem to stretch forever. It is home to more than 700 miles of hiking trails, ranging from gentle lakeside walks to challenging backcountry routes that cross the Continental Divide. Millions of years of geological forces, shaped dramatically by massive glaciers during the Pleistocene era, carved the park's dramatic U-shaped valleys and sculpted sheer cliffs that rise like stone cathedrals. Today, though the park's namesake glaciers have diminished in number, from over 100 a century ago to fewer than 30 today, the evidence of their handiwork is everywhere, etched into every ridgeline and canyon wall. The park's ecosystems are as diverse as its elevations. At lower levels, lush forests of fir, spruce, and cedar flourish. Climb higher, and these give way to subalpine meadows bursting with wildflowers in summer, a dazzling display of color against the backdrop of snow-patched mountains. At the highest elevations, a stark yet fragile tundra supports only the hardiest plants, adapted to survive in brutal winds and frigid winters. Water is the park's lifeblood. Streams rush with snowmelt in spring, feeding more than 130 named lakes. Lake McDonald, the largest, stretches 10 miles long and is lined with colorful pebbles that gleam beneath its clear surface. St. Mary Lake, often photographed at sunrise, reflects the jagged peaks of the Lewis Range in a perfect mirror. Each season transforms the park's character. In spring, waterfalls thunder with the force of melting snow. Summer brings long daylight hours, ideal for hiking and wildlife viewing. Autumn cloaks the large trees in golden needles, while winter quiets the land under deep snow, leaving only the wind and the cry of a distant raven. The heart of the park is traversed by its most famous artery, the Going to the Sun Road. Completed in 1932, this 50-mile engineering marvel clings to mountainsides, threads through tunnels blasted into rock, and crosses narrow ridges where the world drops away on both sides and climbs to the windswept heights of Logan Pass at 6,646 feet. Climbing to Logan Pass, the road is a journey through changing worlds. Lowland forests give way to wildflower meadows, which give way to alpine rock and snow. Along the way, it reveals a constantly changing panorama, towering peaks like Clements Mountain and Reynolds Mountain, and from its pullouts, you can see sweeping valleys like the Garden Wall, thundering waterfalls that seem to overflow the road, and peaks like Mount Oberlin, Bear Hat Mountain, each layered in deep greens, grays, and whites. But the park's magic is not confined to its roadways. Over 700 miles of trails invite hikers into every corner of its wilderness. Gentle paths like the Trail of the Cedars meander through ancient groves of towering western red cedars, while challenging treks like the Highline Trail walks the edge of the sky, with cliffs plunging thousands of feet below. The Grinnell Glacier Trail leads you to one of the park's last great ice masses, where meltwater streams tumble into lakes the color of pale jade. Backpackers can venture deep into remote basins, where turquoise lakes such as Iceberg Lake and Cracker Lake shimmer beneath walls of stone. Wildlife thrives here in abundance. Mountain goats, the park's unofficial mascot, balance on sheer cliffs like living statues, or they appear even in the many pullouts along the way. Grizzly bears and black bears roam the slopes, elk, moose, and mule deer graze in meadows, and more than 260 species of birds, golden eagles soar on thermals, ptarmigans blend perfectly into the tundra, and loons call hauntingly across alpine lakes. Lucky visitors may spot the elusive wolverine or Canada lynx, symbols of the park's untamed character. Each elevation supports its own distinct ecosystem. The west side, wetter and milder, supports towering western red cedar and western hemlock forests that feel almost primeval. The higher slopes burst into color in summer, with Indian paintbrush, glacier lilies, and beargrass painting the meadows. At the top, alpine tundra survives in harsh conditions of thin soil, brutal wind, and snow that can linger into August. Glacier National Park is not just a natural wonder, it is a cultural and historical treasure. For thousands of years, the Blackfeet, Salish, Kootenai, and other indigenous peoples lived in and revered this land. To the Blackfeet Nation, the mountains are sacred. Trails once used for trade and travel still exist today, though many are now hiking paths. In 1932, the park was linked with Canada's Waterton Lakes National Park to create the world's first international peace park, a symbol of unity between nations and a shared commitment to preserving the wild. Whether you explore by car, on foot, by boat, or simply by pausing to breathe in the mountain air, Glacier National Park offers more than scenery, it offers an experience that feels both humbling and timeless. Standing among these peaks, you are reminded that the world still holds places of raw, unfiltered beauty, places where nature speaks louder than any human voice. To visit Glacier is to step into a landscape that feels timeless, untouched, and humbling. It is a place where silence can be profound, where the wind carries the scent of pine and cold stone, and where every vista feels like a painting brought to life. Whether you stand on a mountaintop, paddle a clear lake, or simply pause on a trail to listen to the sound of a distant waterfall, Glacier National Park has a way of staying with you, a reminder of the wild beauty that still exists in the world, and the responsibility we all share to protect it.